Hi, I am at my London studio today. I'm about to share with you my Spring-Summer 2021 collection. For Spring-Summer 21, it was quite an interesting pull together of the collections because we work quite far in advance, and we've been through some downtime, and there has been so much thinking back and reflecting all the elements that really made the collections and Jimmy Choo. And it was so important for me to actually get the team together to think back all the good stuff. It really got me thinking about the world and our women and the character and why we started doing the collection in the first place versus now. I think really now I feel like I'm really dressing to not just one woman, but many of them. And many of them not in a way that they're all different, but they have a variety of lifestyle. And this is where I really try to tune into the collection and think back how we were made and how we're going to go forward. So the few elements which were very important for me were the idea of a pair of shoes, a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes that makes you feel. And for me, it's always that confident factor because it gives you that lift. And on top of that, the years that I've been looking in and working through everything that make me happy and make a Jimmy Choo collection is glamour. Glamour and fashion, as far as I'm concerned, they go hand in hand together. The way that they make a person feel, and that is really kind of like the essence behind what Jimmy Choo stands for, and that forms the idea behind Spring-Summer 2021. There's something inside of me that leads this brand, and I often remind everybody, do something that you really believe in and stand out, and that's what shoes really kind of make you feel. It either kind of take you to places or makes you that you want to be someone. That for me is the key. And that go back to the confidence thing. So I wanted the character to kind of encapsulate the collection. And one character that really stood out for me for the last 9 months is Grace Jones. The way that she made those imageries, she really encapsulated to want to stand out using her beauty and using her form of art to be different, and she became this character behind the scene for this collection. So I call the collection Amazing Grace. I constantly look for inspiration on playing contradictorily between the rough and the smooth, the bright and the dark. Whenever that I play the up with, let's say, sparkle crystals, I always want to give it a twist by placing it on maybe a down material, a softer material. So for me, what makes something stands out at this moment is glamour. But how do you provoke it, and how do you actually contrast it so that it makes you turn your head and makes you stop and think? And all of those things really kind of live in Jimmy Choo. Just because it's sparkle, I want it to be on a harder form. Just because it has lots of pop colors, I want it to be more architectural. So all those elements mixes around and really kind of come alive within the collection, whether it's a bag or shoes, a heel. And that to me really embodies what Grace Jones stands for, and the fact that I wanted to bring in the origin of 90s when Jimmy Choo was born, of the cleanliness, and then at the same time adding certain layers of textures and playing an unpredicted material like, I don't know, raffia with the idea of pearls. I mean, they don't normally go hand in hand together. Somehow I made it so that it happens within the collection. So the first chapter within Spring-Summer 2021 is the idea of 90s. A little bit of trip down memory lane. I remember the pencil skirts that I used to wear. I don't wear skirts anymore, I wear more trainers today. The camel colours, the chicness, the simplicity, the kitten heels, the way that everything was very much sculpted, and it brought me back down to that time when I wanted a certain form that really stands out. So we've created this part of the collection of the shoes with much more to do with graphic, something that is a lot more volume and architectural. There's a new heel being born in this collection. I played with materials like a very slick exotic eel finish, and I patchworked it so that there is a certain elongation of the line that makes it bold and tall, and it is about the celebration of that form. And then within the first part of that collection, all colours really came to play. The mandarin red really pops the collection, and at the same time, the introduction of the same heel, which is, as I said, architecturally formed a note to the kitten heel. It also comes high as well as low. The toe shape and the length of that elongation is extended by the extended toe shape, and those are the bits that really kind of add and form the first part of the 90s. I wanted to make sure that the materials that was referenced back to the 90s is present, and the idea of high summer is also being balanced within the collection. Moving on to enriching and adding textures. There are pieces that is adorned with tortoiseshell, not real, an effect of tortoiseshell. And that to me is the natural element, but it gives me a really kind of nice, smart, precious finish. And I like that shine, it catches the light. I wanted to have a bit more of something. So the dome studs, that is not aggressive, a bit more softer, but at light, it really highlights and trims some of the pieces. And we have this beautiful crossbody bag, which in the Varane family, in this slick, soft pattern, and I paired it with this exaggerated tortoiseshell chain with a little bit of metal, and that to me is really kind of sums up the richness and the cleanliness of 90s and embellishment, and just having this mix of high summer feeling. Raffia, pearls and all of that just kind of came together. There's something that feels really casual, but at the same time there's the refinement and the finishing really kind of wrap up the beauty of some of these feminine shapes. It won't be Jimmy Choo without the dose of, I would say fun, but definitely glamour. For this collection, the glamour comes from the colours. That really provokes the vibrancy. I was fascinated by some of the imageries that we found of Grace Jones, whether it was an album cover or some of the iconic shots of her. I just get really attracted to anything that's bright, and I think anything that shines and sparkles give you hope and make you dream, and perhaps that is one form of escapism that I love to make sure that there is some of that within any of the collection for Jimmy Choo.